Hi ma'am, good day. I am Marklian Levido Labisig. I'm with my groupmates Carlene A. Vasquez and John Kevin Banawa. And today we will discuss the study that we searched earlier about the study on child and adolescent development. First, let's hear the discussion of Carlene A. Vasquez about the social isolation and its impact on child and adolescent development, a systematic review, followed by Marklian Levido Labisig and John Kevin Banawa.
My name is Carlene A. Vasquez and I am a first-year PB student. Social isolation and its impact on child and adolescent development, a systematic review, is the title of the study I'll be discussing. Isabelina de Laia Almeida, Jacqueline Ferraz Rigo, Amanda Carvalho Giraldi Texera, and Marlia Rodriguez Moreira are the authors of the study. In the year 2020, the study was published. The goal of the study is to examine the effect of social isolation on the development of children and teenagers, with a focus on the potential consequences for their physical and mental health. When it comes to acquiring insights about a particular issue, study, research, or even people data is critical. Secondary data collection was utilized by the researchers to detect and verifying various problems, perspective, hypotheses, and other elements that could affect the research. Descriptive research design is a framework of research methodologies and procedures chosen by researchers because it entails monitoring and describing a subject behavior without altering it in any manner. The systematic review comprised 12 studies out of 519 that we were reviewed. 5 of them looked at psychological and social concern, with 2 of them looked at the effect of pandemic on these issues. 4 studies look at the effect on general health, and 2 look at the hypothalamus, hypophysis, adrenal axis, and cognitive and social development. The study, Social Isolation and its Impact on Child and Adolescent Development, a systematic review, conclude that there is a clear link between social isolation and anxiety and depression in children and adolescents. Higher cortisol levels and poor cognitive development are linked to social isolation. As a result, health practitioners must closely monitor the mental and physical health of children and adolescents during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. That's what we all think.
Hi ma'am, good day. My name is Marklian Levido Labisig, a first-year Bachelor of Physical Education student at Jose Rizal Memorial State University, Dipolog Campus. And today, I will be discussing the study about neighborhoods' influence of child and adolescents' development. The author of this study is Ginny Brooks Gunn from Columbia University, Greg J. Duncan from University of Michigan, Pamela Keto-Kilabanov from Columbia University, and Naomi Seelan from University of Michigan. This study was published at the University of Chicago Press in 22 of March 2015. The goal of this study is to find the effect of neighborhoods characteristic on the development of children and adolescents are estimated using 2 data sets, each of which contains information gathered about individual children and the families and neighborhoods in which they reside. There are reasonably powerful neighborhood effects, particularly the effect of the presence of affluent neighbors on childhood IQ, teenage birth, and school leaving, even after the differences in the socio-economic characteristic of families are adjusted for. The study finds that white teenagers benefit more from the presence of affluent neighbors than do black teenagers. They use survey form and case study on gathering data, as the result says that There is substantial evidence that neighborhoods' effect on teenage behavior differ between black and whites, and more limited evidence that effect differ between poor and not poor families. Significant coefficient on the race interaction, variable in the out of wedlock bearing, and school leaving regression imply that the benefit of affluent neighbors, or perhaps more likely classmates, on those behaviors are restricted to whites. A lot of them were discovered during their hunt for neighborhoods' effect or influence on the child and development. Unsurprisingly, they discovered that children growing up in the rich neighborhoods affect that to do better and get the things that they want than children growing up in a low-income neighborhood, and impact the remains even after controlling for family level them varieties. This holds true and for both young children and adolescents. The distinction between the impact of the presence of low-income family in the absence of rich household is a major refinement. In the empirical study, both of the data sets shows a lot of evidence for the latter and only a little evidence for the former. My recommendation for this study is that we all know about races, and based on my discussion, you just heard the treatment of being white than being black. And this kind of act can affect the development of a child or even a teenager. Why don't we study, build, and create an environment where people treating people equally and not be based on skin color or the state of life, for them to live equally and peacefully. That's all, and I thank you.
My name is John Kevin Banawa, a first-year Bachelor of Physical Education, student of Jose Rizal Memorial State University, Dipolog Campus. Today I will discuss my study entitled The Development of Multiple Domains of Child and Adolescent Self-Concept, a Cohort Sequential Longitudinal Design. In the year 2001, this study was published. David A. Cole, Scott E. Maxwell, Joanna Martin, Lachlan J. Pick, A.D. Zerokzensky, Jane M. Trump, Kit B. Hoffman, Mark D. Ruiz, Farah Zakin, and Tracy McManery are the authors of the study. The goal of this research is to describe trends in the development of self-concept that do, in fact, extend across time, while examining specific transitional period that punctuate this continuity. Research implemented a multi-level modeling data analytics strategy that utilized all available data and was less subject to the biasing effects of non-random attrition. The data is more complex patterns that varies by gender, domain, and various educational, social, and developmental transitions. Descriptive research design is a framework of research methodologies chosen by a researcher because it details of observing and describing the behavior of a subject without influencing it in any way. The research was longitudinal, whereas some of the previous findings derived from cross-sectional design. In this study, researchers found support for several of the hypotheses about the trajectories and stabilities of self-concept, certain transitional effects, and several anticipated gender differences. The conclusion of this study is that having multiple measures of a self-concept that examine other aspects of this complex construct would expand greatly what is known about self-concept development. Finally, the study completely confounded various transition effects.